I got a text from my wife saying she's stuck in the basement. We don't have a basement. Last night, around 11:30 p.m., I got a text from my wife. I'm stuck in the basement. Please come get me. I stared at the screen for a long time, waiting for the punchline. We don't have a basement. Our house is a single-story ranch built in the 60s, sitting on a slab foundation. No cellar, no crawl space, just floor. At first I thought she was joking, except she wasn't home. She was working a late shift at the hospital, covering for another nurse. I'd kissed her goodbye at 3:45 that afternoon and watched her car pull out of the driveway. So I texted back, very funny. Basement, huh? 3 dots appeared. Then, I'm not joking. Please hurry. That was when the hair on my arms stood up. I tried calling her. No answer. I called again, straight to voicemail. The next 10 minutes were a blur. I checked the driveway. Her car wasn't there. I ran through every room of the house, even opened closets and cabinets like an idiot. Nothing. No sign of her. But the texts kept coming. I can hear you walking upstairs. Please, I'm right underneath you. Don't let him know you're here. I swear to God. My phone nearly slipped out of my hands when I read that last one. I tore through the house again, banging on walls, looking for seams, panels, anything that might explain this. Our kitchen tile, the carpet in the living room, the laundry room linoleum, solid, all of it. There is no basement here. At 12:07 a.m., another message arrived. He knows. Don't come down. I don't know how long I stood there staring at it, heart thudding so hard I thought my chest might crack. Eventually, I drove to the hospital just to prove to myself she was really there. She was, exhausted, in scrubs, sipping bad coffee behind the nurse's desk. She swore she never texted me once all night. When I showed her my phone, her face drained of color, because in the message thread, right above her name, was a photo. A dark stairwell, a wooden door at the top, cracked open just enough for light to spill in. The photo was taken from below, from inside a basement we don't have. I barely slept after last night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that photo, looking up at the cracked door, light spilling through, like someone was begging to be let out. This morning, I did something reckless. I called a contractor, told him I wanted to know if our house had any kind of hidden crawl space or sealed off storm shelter. He came by around noon, poked around the foundation, tapped the walls, even pulled up the corner of the laundry room linoleum. After half an hour, he shrugged. Nothing here, man. You're on solid concrete. No basement, no access, no way in. Whoever built this house didn't even bother with vents. He left me with a bill and a polite smile, but I could tell he thought I was nuts. When my wife got home from her shift, I didn't bring it up. She hates when I chase weird stuff, too hard, paranormal shows, unsolved mysteries, all that. I could see the bags under her eyes and decided not to pile on. But around 10 o'clock tonight, my phone buzzed again. Same contact, same name. He's still down here. My wife was brushing her teeth in the bathroom at that exact moment. I could hear the electric hum of her toothbrush. I could hear the water running. And then another text came through. Don't trust the one upstairs. I swear my knees almost gave out. I walked slowly toward the bathroom, phone clutched in my hand like a weapon. My wife stepped out in her pajamas, looking confused. You okay? She asked. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to smile, kiss her goodnight, and bury the fear. But the words that came out were, where's your phone? She frowned, went back into the bathroom, and picked it up off the counter. She held it up to me, screen lit, toothbrush still in her other hand. That's when the third text came through. Please don't let her see me. The bathroom light flickered, just once, but long enough for both of us to notice. I didn't tell her about the text. How could I? How do you explain that her phone sent me a message while she was standing right there? That it said, don't let her see me. I just smiled weakly, mumbled something about being tired, and went to bed. But I didn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., I heard it. A sound I've never heard in this house before. Knocking. Slow, deliberate, coming from somewhere beneath the floor. 3 knocks. Then silence. I held my breath, straining to hear. My wife stirred beside me, murmured in her sleep, but didn't wake. Another 3 knocks. Louder this time. I got up, careful not to wake her, and padded barefoot into the hallway. The sound seemed to move, following me, from the bedroom, to the living room, then toward the laundry room. That's where it stopped. I stood there, heart hammering, staring at the linoleum floor, the same corner the contractor had checked yesterday. I almost convinced myself I imagined it, until my phone buzzed in my hand. I can hear you above me. The photo that followed nearly made me scream. It was the same stairwell as before, but closer now. The shot was angled higher, almost at the top step, and the light spilling in through the door was dimmer. I dropped my phone and staggered back. That's when I noticed the laundry room floor. There were scratches in the linoleum, faint but real, long, straight lines, like something had been dragged from the inside pressing upward. I stood frozen, staring, until my wife's voice broke the silence. Why are you just standing there? She asked, groggy, from the hallway. I looked at her, standing there in the dark, hair mussed from sleep, and for the first time since this started, I wasn't sure she was really my wife. I didn't answer her. I couldn't. The way she was looking at me, eyes half-lidded, voice flat, it didn't sound like her. Or maybe I was just losing it. I muttered something about getting water and brushed past her, careful not to let her see my phone on the floor. When I came back, she was already in bed, breathing evenly, like nothing had happened. But when I checked my phone again, the messages were still there. The photo, the scratches in the linoleum. This morning, while she was showering, I went back to the laundry room with a flashlight. The scratches hadn't gone away. They were clearer now, like someone dragging metal fingernails against stone, pressing upward hard enough to ripple the flooring. I don't know what possessed me, but I grabbed a screwdriver and started prying at the corner tile, just to see, just to prove it was nothing. The tile lifted easier than I expected, and beneath it, instead of concrete slab, I saw wood. Old, splintered wood. I froze. Our entire house is supposed to sit on concrete. The sound of the shower stopped. My wife would be out any minute. In a panic, I shoved the tile back down, pressing it flat, and kicked the screwdriver under the dryer. When she walked into the kitchen, wrapped in a towel, hair dripping, she gave me this small smile like nothing in the world was wrong. Sleep better? She asked. I lied and said yes. But an hour ago, after she left for errands, I went back to check the laundry room. The screwdriver was gone, and waiting on top of the dryer was a note, written in jagged pencil. Stop trying to open the door. He'll hear you. I didn't tell her about the note. It sat on the dryer all day while I tried to work from home, mocking me. I kept walking past the laundry room, glancing at it, half expecting the pencil to scratch out new words right in front of me. By evening, I couldn't take it anymore. I stuffed the note into my desk drawer and told myself I'd hallucinated it. Stress, lack of sleep, that's all. At dinner, my wife asked if I'd been in the attic again. We don't have an attic, I said automatically. She tilted her head. Of course we do. Every house has an attic. I stared at her. I've lived here 6 years. I've replaced shingles, cleaned gutters, patched the roof. I've never once seen an attic hatch. Before I could argue, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I glanced down and felt my stomach drop. He asked about you tonight. Another text from her number. I looked up at my wife. She was spooning mashed potatoes onto her plate, humming quietly like nothing was wrong. Who did? I asked. My voice cracked. She blinked at me. What? The man in the basement. I whispered before I could stop myself. Her fork froze halfway to her mouth. She set it down carefully, like I just said something dangerous. We don't have a basement, she said, and then she smiled. Wide. Too wide. That night, I woke to the sound of knocking again. Louder. Closer. 3 slow knocks. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands. Another photo had come through. This time, it wasn't the stairwell. It was me, asleep in bed, taken from the floor, at the foot of the mattress. I bought cameras today. Not cheap ones either. High-end motion-triggered security cameras with night vision. I set one up in the hallway, one in the living room, and one in the laundry room, aimed right at that corner of linoleum where the scratches are. If something's moving in this house, I'll catch it. My wife watched me from the couch while I worked, saying nothing. Just that same faint smile, like she knew a secret I didn't. When I finally sat down, she asked, "What do you expect to find?" "I don't know," I admitted, "but something's here. I need proof." She laughed softly. "You won't like what you see." I tried to ask what she meant, but she just went back to scrolling her phone. By midnight, she was asleep. I stayed awake in the dark, refreshing the camera feeds on my phone. At first, nothing. Just empty rooms. The faint green glow of night vision. Then, around 2:14 a.m., the laundry room feed flickered. For half a second, the floor looked wrong, like the tile peeled back and there were steps where there shouldn't be. A shadow moved across the frame, too fast to make out, and the feed cut to black. The camera never came back on. I sat there shaking, trying to restart the feed, when my phone buzzed with a new text. "Don't watch the laundry room tonight." I didn't recognize the number. Different area code, different contact name, but the message thread was filled with the same photos I'd already been sent. And the newest one? It showed me sitting in the living room, hunched over my phone, staring at the camera feed, taken just seconds ago. I didn't sleep after that. The new number kept texting me. Same tone, same urgency. "You're being watched. He doesn't like cameras. Stop before she notices." I finally snapped and texted back. "Who are you?" No answer. Just another photo. This time, it wasn't of me. It was my wife, standing in the kitchen, head tilted back unnaturally, mouth open too wide, like she was screaming, but the photo was silent. The light above her was flickering. I crept into the kitchen. She wasn't there. The room was empty, but when I turned around, her phone was sitting on the counter. I hadn't heard her come in. I hadn't seen her put it there. The screen was unlocked. My number was open in her messages, and the last text she typed was unsent, cursor blinking. It said, "He knows about the attic." My stomach dropped. "We don't have an attic." I locked the screen and put the phone back exactly how I found it. When she came into the kitchen a few minutes later, hair messy from sleep, she looked at me with this glazed smile. "What are you doing up?" she asked. I lied and said I was thirsty, but all I could think about was that message she hadn't sent. If she didn't send it, who did? And if she did, who was she warning me about? I spent the morning walking through every room, looking up. If there's an attic, there has to be a hatch. Every house has one, right? A square cut out, a ladder, something. But I've lived here 6 years, and I've never seen one. Still, I checked. Bedroom ceilings, hallway, laundry room, even the closets. Nothing but smooth plaster. By noon, I was ready to give up. Then, in the hallway outside our bedroom, I noticed something strange. The ceiling paint looked newer in one patch, fresher white, a perfect square maybe 3 feet wide. I dragged a chair over and tapped it. Hollow. My pulse was racing as I pressed harder. My fingers caught on a seam I'd never noticed before, and when I pushed, the panel shifted slightly upward. There is a hatch. I nearly grabbed the ladder right then, but stopped. The air coming from the seam was wrong. Not dusty, not stale, warm, like someone was up there breathing. I let the panel drop back into place and shoved the chair against the wall before my wife came home. That night, while she was cooking, my phone buzzed with another text from the unknown number. "Don't open the attic. That's where he waits when he's not in the basement." My hands shook so hard I nearly dropped the phone into the sink. I looked at my wife, humming softly as she stirred the pan, her face glowing in the stove light, and I realized something chilling. She wasn't humming any melody. It was just one note, over and over. I'm starting to wonder if my wife even sleeps. Last night, after she went to bed, I stayed awake, scrolling through old photos on my phone. We don't take many pictures, but I found one from last Christmas, her in front of the tree, holding a glass of wine. I stared at it for a long time, because something felt off. Her smile was too wide, her eyes too glassy. At first I thought it was just bad lighting. Then I noticed the reflection in the window behind her. Someone was standing outside. Not me, not anyone we know. A man, tall and thin, with his head tilted, watching through the glass. I wanted to wake her up, to show her, but when I turned, she was already sitting upright in bed, just staring at me. "You should delete that," she said softly. My phone slipped in my hand. "What? The picture? The one you're looking at?" My stomach turned cold. I hadn't said a word out loud. She lay back down, closed her eyes, and was asleep within seconds. I didn't delete the photo. It's still on my phone, but every time I open the gallery, it's different. The man in the reflection is closer now. And tonight, when I checked again, he wasn't outside anymore. He was standing behind her. I heard him last night. Not just the knocking, not just the scratching. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, heavy. They started in the laundry room, moved across the kitchen, then stopped right outside our bedroom door. I froze, barely breathing. My wife didn't stir. Or maybe she did and pretended not to. The steps lingered, a faint shuffle, and then a long, drawn-out inhale, like someone was pressing their face against the door and smelling the air. My phone buzzed under the covers. A new message. "Don't look at him. Pretend you're asleep." The doorknob turned. Just a fraction. Enough for the latch to click. I squeezed my eyes shut and held my breath, praying, begging whatever it was not to come inside. The steps moved again. Away this time. Down the hall. Then silence. I don't know how long I lay there before I dared to look at my phone again. A new photo had come through. It showed our bedroom door, cracked open just an inch, and one pale hand, gripping the frame from the other side. I heard the footsteps again. Not in the hall this time. Above me. I woke up to the faintest creaking. Slow, deliberate, like someone pacing across the ceiling. The sound shouldn't even exist. There's no crawl space, no attic, but the weight of each step bent the plaster just enough to scatter dust down onto the bed. I shook my wife's shoulder. She didn't move, didn't even twitch. Her breathing was steady, too steady, like a recording playing on loop. Another step overhead. I crept out of bed, phone clutched tight in my hand, and slipped into the hallway. The ceiling bulged slightly, as if something was crawling on its belly up there, dragging itself across the beams. And then came the voice, muffled, faint, but right above me. "He's almost ready." I froze. My blood went cold. A sharp vibration buzzed in my palm. New message. "Don't open the attic. He wants you to." I glanced back toward the bedroom. My wife was standing in the doorway now, eyes wide open in the dark. "You heard it too, didn't you?" she whispered. Only, her lips never moved when she spoke. This morning, I pretended nothing happened. I made coffee, read the news, asked my wife about her shift schedule. She answered every question, smiling, nodding, but none of her words matched what I'd asked. "How late will you be tonight?" I said. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "The chairs are too heavy to move alone." I felt my stomach twist. I asked what she meant. She just blinked at me, smile frozen, like she didn't understand the question. By noon, I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed the ladder from the garage and dragged it to the hallway. I had to know. The attic hatch looked perfectly normal now, seamless, like it had never been there at all. But when I pressed my palm against the ceiling, it was still warm. I climbed the ladder anyway. The moment my head reached the top step, something small tumbled down, hitting my shoulder, bouncing onto the floor. A child's shoe. Old, scuffed, too small to belong to anyone I know. I nearly fell off the ladder trying to get down. My wife appeared behind me, picking up the shoe. She turned it over in her hands, like she'd seen it before. "Don't lose this again," she said softly, handing it back to me. I asked her whose it was. She smiled that same empty smile. "Our son's," she said. "We don't have children." I couldn't stop staring at the shoe. It sat on the kitchen table all morning while I tried to make sense of it. My wife walked past it a dozen times, never acknowledging it again, like she hadn't been the one who handed it to me. to me. Finally, I asked her directly, what son? She looked up from her coffee, blinked slowly, like I just asked her name. Our son, she repeated. Daniel, don't joke like that. It upsets me. I swear my heart stopped. We don't have kids. We've never had kids. I told her so. My voice was shaking, but I forced the words out. She didn't argue. She just kept smiling, sipping her coffee, until I thought maybe I'd imagined the whole exchange. But that night, while she slept, I checked her phone. There were photos in her gallery I'd never seen before. Birthdays, vacations, Christmas mornings, all with a boy, blonde hair, maybe 8 years old, grinning at the camera. In some of them, I was there too, arm around his shoulders, smiling like it was the happiest moment of my life. Only, I have no memory of him. None. As I scrolled through, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from the unknown number. Don't believe her. He was never real. The bedroom light flicked on. I looked up. My wife was sitting upright in bed, watching me through the open door, and she wasn't smiling anymore. I needed air. After last night, after those photos of a boy I don't remember, I couldn't sit in that house anymore. I walked the neighborhood just to clear my head. That's when Mrs. Kelly, our neighbor from across the street, called out to me. She was tending her roses, sun hat pulled low. Haven't seen Daniel lately, she said. Is he still playing baseball? My throat went dry. What did you say? She gave me a puzzled smile. Your son, always running around in the yard. Sweet kid, the one with the mitt. I shook my head. We don't have kids. Her smile faltered. She looked at me like I'd slapped her. That's not funny. I watched him grow up. I turned and walked away before she could say more. By the time I got back home, my wife was waiting on the porch. She had her phone in her hand. You told her we don't have children? She asked, voice low, tight. I stammered something, but she cut me off. Do you want him to disappear? Her eyes were cold. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A new text. She's not lying, but the boy isn't yours. I looked up at her, and for the first time, I thought I saw something else move behind her eyes, like someone else was watching from inside. I set up the cameras again. Not in the laundry room this time. Not the attic. I pointed one right at the backyard, where Mrs. Kelly swore she'd seen him playing. If Daniel exists, I'll catch him on video. I left the cameras rolling all day. Checked the feeds every hour. Nothing. Just the yard, empty, still. But around dusk, when the shadows stretched long, I heard it. Laughter. High-pitched, breathless, the unmistakable laugh of a child. I ran to the back door and froze. The yard was empty. Not a soul in sight, but the laughter didn't stop. It echoed, thin and hollow, like it was leaking through the walls. My phone buzzed. I opened the feed, and there he was. A boy, maybe 8, standing in the middle of the yard. Blonde hair, dirt-stained sneakers, clutching a baseball glove too big for his hand. He was grinning straight into the camera. I tore outside, hard in my throat, but the yard was empty again. No footprints. No sign of anyone. When I came back in, my wife was at the sink, washing dishes. She looked over her shoulder, smile plastered on her face. Did you see him? She asked. I wanted to scream. Instead, I whispered, see who? Her smile widened. Our son. He wanted to play catch with you. My phone buzzed again. Another photo. This one wasn't from my cameras. It was from inside the house, and it showed me, standing at the back door, with the boy right beside me. I didn't check the cameras today. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes last night, I saw that photo, the boy standing beside me, grinning like we just shared a secret. But this morning, I found something worse. A baseball, sitting in the hallway outside our bedroom. Old, scuffed, the leather yellowed with age. I don't own one. Neither does my wife. When I picked it up, I swear I heard a giggle, faint and quick, like someone holding their breath just around the corner. I dropped the ball and backed away. That evening, while my wife was cooking, I heard it again. Laughter. This time inside the house. Light footsteps thudding across the living room floor. Daniel, wash your hands before dinner. My wife called out without turning around. I froze. The footsteps stopped. Then another sound followed. The squeak of the bathroom faucet. The rattle of pipes. I stood there shaking, staring at the bathroom door, waiting for it to open. It never did. But when I finally walked over, the sink was dripping. Water everywhere. And on the counter, next to the soap, was the same child's shoe from the attic. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Don't play with him. He's not your son. I turned, and for a split second, in the mirror above the sink, I saw the boy, standing right behind me, smiling. When I spun around, the room was empty. I don't know why I went looking. Maybe it was the shoe. Maybe it was the baseball. Maybe it was the way the laughter kept slipping between walls like water. Whatever the reason, tonight I grabbed a flashlight and went to the laundry room. The scratches in the linoleum were worse, deeper, like claws dragging up from beneath. I dropped to my knees, pressing my ear to the floor. Silence. And then, knock. 3 sharp raps, inches from my head. I stumbled back, heart pounding, but I couldn't stop myself. I jammed the screwdriver into the seam and pried. The tile lifted. Beneath it wasn't concrete. It was wood, old, rotting planks, and wedged between them was a narrow seam, just wide enough to be a door. I pressed my fingers into the crack. The board shifted, groaning as if it hadn't moved in years. Dust poured up around me, and there they were. Steps. A staircase descending into blackness. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from the unknown number. You finally found it. Don't go down. That's what he wants. I stared into the dark, bile rising in my throat. That's when I heard it. Footsteps climbing the stairs. Slow, heavy, getting closer. And above me, from the hallway, my wife's voice. Daniel, wash your hands before bed. But this time, her voice wasn't right. It was deeper, wrong, like someone else was wearing her throat. I should have run. When I heard those footsteps coming up the stairs, I should have slammed the tile back down, sealed the door, and pretended none of it was real. But I didn't. I held the flashlight over the gap and waited. Something moved in the dark. At first, I thought it was just the beam catching dust, but then the shape rose higher, step by step. A figure, tall and thin, climbing toward me. The flashlight caught a hand, pale, too long. The fingers curled around the railing like they'd been broken and healed wrong. That's when I saw the eyes, 2 pinpricks of light, staring straight into mine. The beam flickered. My breath hitched. My phone buzzed. Don't let him see your face. I stumbled back, nearly dropping the flashlight. The figure froze on the stairs, head tilted, watching me. Then I heard the floor creak behind me. My wife was standing in the doorway. Her smile stretched wider than I'd ever seen it. You weren't supposed to find that, she whispered. The stairwell groaned. The figure shifted again, one foot pressing against the wood like it was ready to climb the rest of the way up. And my wife's voice dropped to a growl. Close it, now. I should have listened. I slammed the tile shut that night, but I couldn't stop thinking about what I saw. The eyes, the hand, the way it just stood there waiting. By morning, I'd made up my mind. I had to know what was down there. When my wife left for her shift, I grabbed the flashlight, a kitchen knife, and pried the floor open again. The wood groaned, dust poured up, and the stairs yawned beneath me, stretching into black. I told myself I'd just look, just one step, just to prove I wasn't insane. But the moment my foot touched the first stair, I felt it. The air shifted, heavy, wet, like the house was breathing around me. I went down 5 steps, 10, 20. The light barely touched the walls, but what I could see wasn't concrete. It was stone, old, rough, like the inside of a cave. The staircase shouldn't have fit under the house. It went deeper than the foundation should allow. After what felt like forever, I reached the bottom. The floor was dirt, damp. My shoes sank into it. The smell was sour, like mold and rot. And in the far corner, I saw movement. At first, I thought it was the boy, small figure, crouched low, shoulders shaking like he was crying. Daniel? I whispered before I could stop myself. The figure froze. Then it lifted its head. It wasn't wasn't a child. The face that looked at me was too long, the mouth stretching ear to ear, full of teeth that weren't shaped right, and it smiled. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message lit the screen. Get out. That's not him. The thing in the corner stood up. The thing stood all the way up. Its head nearly brushed the ceiling, even though the basement stretched higher than it should. Its arms hung too long at its sides, the fingers flexing like they couldn't wait to grab something. And then it spoke. Not in a growl, not in some inhuman roar. Its voice was soft, calm, almost familiar. You left him down here. My chest seized. Who? I managed to whisper. The thing tilted its head. The smile never moved, but I swear I saw its cheeks twitch. Your boy. He waits for you. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped the flashlight. Daniel isn't real, I whispered. The smile widened. Not anymore. The shadows behind it shifted. For a second, I thought I saw something small move, knees drawn to chest, head tucked down. A child, crouched in the dirt. Daniel? I said before I could stop myself. The boy's head snapped up. His eyes glowed like coins catching the light. He opened his mouth, and the voice that came out wasn't his. Come closer, Dad. I staggered back. The stair groaned under my weight. Above me, the hatch slammed shut, and when I whipped my flashlight up, I saw her, my wife, kneeling over the boards, pressing them down with both palms. She was smiling. The hatch sealed shut above me. I threw myself at the stairs, slamming the boards with my fists, screaming for her to open it. The wood didn't budge. No reply. Only silence. When I turned back, the boy was gone. The tall figure hadn't moved, still standing in the far corner, smiling, head tilted too far to one side, but the dirt floor bore prints now, small, barefoot impressions, circling me. My flashlight flickered. The beam stuttered. Every time it cut out, I heard the laugh, too close, behind my ear, then by my feet, then darting away again. The smell of rot grew stronger. Something wet dripped from the ceiling, spattering my shoulder. I tried to force myself to breathe, to stay calm. What do you want from me? I whispered. The tall figure finally answered. We don't want you. My blood ran cold. Another voice joined in, higher, childlike. We already have you. The beam steadied for a moment. The boy stood a few feet away, grinning, baseball glove dangling from one hand, but his smile wasn't the same as in the photos. His teeth were small, sharp, and there were too many of them. My phone buzzed in my pocket. With shaking hands, I pulled it out. A new text lit the screen. Keep going. She's waiting. I swung the flashlight toward the back wall, and there it was, an opening, a narrow tunnel, sloping deeper into the dark. I don't remember making the decision to move. My legs just carried me toward that opening, like something was pulling me forward. The tunnel was narrow, barely wide enough for me to crawl through. The dirt scraped my arms, and the air was hot and sour, like breathing through a rotten sponge. I kept the flashlight pointed ahead, but every few feet, the beam caught something that made my stomach twist. A torn sleeve from a scrub top, the kind my wife wears to the hospital. A pair of broken glasses, frames bent, one lens cracked down the middle, and carved into the wall, shallow scratches. 4 words, over and over, gouged until the dirt turned black around them. I am still here. My throat burned. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the light. Then I heard it, faint, weak, a voice. Help me. I scrambled forward, heart slamming, the tunnel tightening around me. The flashlight caught movement ahead, a hand, pale and trembling, reaching through the dirt. Please, the voice rasped. Don't let her keep me here. I lunged forward, grabbed her hand, cold, real, and then I saw her, my wife, the real one, her hair matted with dirt, her skin gray with exhaustion, eyes wide with terror. They took me, she whispered. The one upstairs isn't me. Behind us, back in the tunnel, I heard the boy laugh. Her grip was ice cold, but I clutched it like a lifeline. Tell me what's happening, I begged. What is she? My wife's eyes filled with tears. Her voice trembled. She's not me. She's what he makes. When he takes someone, he leaves one behind. They look the same, sound the same, but they're empty, hollow. They only know how to smile. The tunnel pressed closer as she dragged herself forward, trembling with the effort. They feed the house, she whispered. The longer you live with them, the more they drain you, until there's nothing left. I thought of the way she'd hummed the same single note, the way she'd smiled without blinking, the way she talked about a son we didn't have. Daniel? I asked, my throat dry. Her face crumpled. There was never a Daniel. He's just bait, something he stitched together out of scraps. He uses him to keep you looking, keep you doubting what's real. I wanted to scream, to tear my hair out, to deny every word, but deep down, I knew she was right. Why me? I whispered. Her eyes darted over my shoulder, back down the tunnel. Her lips quivered. Because he already has you. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A new message lit the screen. Don't listen to her. She's the hollow one. When I looked back at my wife, her face was twisted with fear. You see, she whispered. He's trying to turn you against me. That's how he wins. From behind us, the laughter came again, closer this time, and this time, a deeper voice joined in. I dragged her out of the tunnel, arm hooked under hers, heart slamming against my ribs. Every sound behind us, the laughter, the scraping, the slow deliberate footsteps, made me move faster. The stairs were ahead, the narrow shaft leading back up to the house. I shoved her toward it, boosting her up with every ounce of strength I had. The hatch creaked open, and there she was, my wife, the other one, smiling down at us from the laundry room. You found her, she said softly. Good, now you can see she's not real. The woman beside me shook her head violently. Don't believe her. She's the hollow one. She's been feeding on you. The duplicate leaned closer, her grin stretching wider than any human face should. Her teeth gleamed in the light, too perfect, too even. Look at her, she hissed. She's weak, empty. She doesn't belong here. I've kept you safe. I've given you a family. Daniel, don't you want him? The real wife sobbed, clutching at me. She'll never stop. If you stay with her, you'll vanish piece by piece, just like me. My chest burned. My head spun. Both of them were pleading, pulling at me, their voices overlapping until I couldn't tell them apart. And then, from the darkness below, the man's voice rumbled up the stairwell. Shoes. The boy's laugh echoed after it. Hurry, Dad. Shoes. I froze on the stairs. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped the flashlight. Above me, her face glowed in the laundry room light. Calm, smiling, calm, too wide. Beside me, in the dirt and shadows, the other her clung to my arm, her skin clammy, her voice raw from crying. Please, she whispered. You know me. You know my voice. Don't let her pull you back in. The one above leaned closer. If you go with her, you'll rot down there. You'll never see daylight again. Stay with me. With Daniel. Both voices wrapped around me, squeezing tighter, crushing every thought until all I heard was choose, choose, choose. I don't know. I stammered. I don't know who's real. The basement trembled. Dust rained from the ceiling. The man's voice rumbled through the walls. Then let us show you. The hatch blew wide open, and both of them moved at once. The one beside me clawed up the stairs, dragging me with her, screaming. The one above dropped down, hands outstretched, teeth gleaming too sharp. They collided in the narrow stairwell, shrieking, writhing, faces tearing open into something I couldn't recognize. For a moment I thought I saw 4 hands, 6, 8, all reaching for me. The boy's laughter split the air, and then I realized the sound wasn't coming from below anymore. It was in my ear. I don't remember climbing the stairs. One moment I was caught between them, hands tearing at me, the boy's laugh echoing inside my skull. The next, I was on the kitchen floor, gasping, the hatch sealed tight beneath me. My wife stood at the stove, smiling, stirring a pot of soup like nothing had happened. Rough night? She asked. I staggered back, heart hammering. My clothes were streaked with dirt. My hands were raw, but the house was clean. Too clean. No scratches scratches on the linoleum. No dust, no hatch, nothing. The sound of small feet pattered behind me. I turned. Daniel. He stood in the doorway, baseball glove tucked under one arm, grinning like the photos. Dad, he said, will you play catch with me after dinner? My stomach lurched. I stumbled to my phone, desperate, praying I'd see the texts, the photos, the proof. But the thread was gone. Every message wiped clean. The only thing left was a family group chat. Me, my wife, Daniel. Dozens of smiling pictures filled the thread. Vacations, birthdays, Christmas, all memories I didn't have. I looked up. My wife was watching me, her smile glassy. Perfect. You're home now, she whispered. Isn't this what you wanted? Daniel giggled. Forever, Dad. Behind them, the wall seemed to breathe. I tried to play along. I sat at the table, ate the soup, nodded when Daniel chattered about school I didn't remember enrolling him in. My wife smiled and refilled my bowl, humming that same single note under her breath. But today, when I left for work, the cracks started to show. At the office, my manager pulled me aside. Glad to see you back, he said. Back? I asked. He nodded. After everything with your wife and son, we didn't think you'd return so soon. My blood went cold. What do you mean? He frowned. The accident. You told us last month. I shook my head. I wanted to scream at him, but his expression was steady, certain, like he believed every word of what he was saying. When I got home that evening, I tested them. I asked Daniel what his teacher's name was. He blinked, smiled. Mrs. His voice glitched, like a skipping record, before snapping back. Mrs. Kelly. My stomach turned. Mrs. Kelly is our neighbor. Later, I asked my wife where we went on our honeymoon. Her smile widened. Here, she said. We never left. That night, I set my phone on the counter while they ate dessert. Camera rolling, just to see. When I checked the footage later, my hands went numb. In the video, they weren't eating. They were just staring at me, smiling. I didn't confront them. I couldn't. The way they watched me in that video, smiling without blinking, was enough to keep me quiet. If I let them know I'd seen behind the mask, I don't think I'd live to see morning. So I played along, ate the cake, smiled when Daniel asked for a bedtime story, kissed my wife goodnight. Then, when the house was still, I crept back to the laundry room. I pressed my palms to the linoleum, hard hammering. No scratches, no seams, just smooth floor. But when I leaned closer, I felt it. Warmth, a faint vibration, like a heartbeat pulsing through the boards. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text. It's still there. Dig. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed a kitchen knife and jammed it into the corner, sawing at the tile until it peeled back. Beneath it, wood, old, splintered, groaning as I pressed down. I pried harder. The knife slipped. The floor gave way with a crack, and a gush of hot air rushed out, carrying the smell of dirt and rot. The stairs yawned open again, and from below, I heard two voices. My wife, crying, and my own, whispering, don't let them replace you. I didn't wait. The moment I heard my own voice echoing up from the dark, I lowered myself onto the steps. The air clung to my skin like hot breath, thick with rot and damp earth. Every creak of the wood made me flinch, but I kept going. Down, down, deeper than the house could possibly reach. The tunnel opened into a chamber I hadn't seen before. The dirt walls shimmered faintly, wet with condensation, pulsing like veins beneath skin. And there, against the far wall, someone sat chained by the wrists. Myself. His face was thinner, gaunt, eyes sunken but blazing with recognition. He tugged at the chains, rattling them with every movement. You came back, he rasped. My mouth went dry. What are you? I'm you, he said. The real you. The one they took. I staggered back, shaking my head. That's not possible. He laughed, hollow and broken. Then why do you think you keep getting messages you don't remember sending? Why do you think the boy calls you dad? I wanted to argue, to deny, but my phone buzzed again. A new message, from my own number. You've been upstairs too long. It's time to switch. The chained version of me lunged forward, eyes wild. Don't let them drag you back. If you go up again, you'll disappear. Behind me, from the stairwell, I heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, 2 sets. My wife, my son, coming down. The footsteps echoed closer, each one pounding like a heartbeat through the walls. I backed away from the chained version of myself, flashlight trembling in my hand. He tugged at the restraints, voice hoarse, desperate. They made you upstairs. Don't you get it? You're the copy. That's why you don't remember Daniel. That's why she doesn't hum right. You were never supposed to last this long. No, I whispered. I'm real. My phone buzzed. I looked down. Another message, from my own number. Time to come home. The chamber shook. The dirt walls heaved like lungs sucking in air. The boy's laughter filled the tunnel, sharp and high, bouncing from every direction. My wife appeared at the bottom of the stairs. Daniel clutched her hand. Both were smiling, their teeth too many, too even. Ready, love? She asked. Daniel's voice chimed in, sweet and broken. We'll keep him safe. Just like before. I turned to the chained man. He was staring at me, tears streaking his filthy face. Please, he begged. Take my place. Let me out. The truth hit me like ice water. The texts, the photos, the warnings. They weren't from strangers. They were from him. The real me. My knees buckled. I dropped the flashlight. In its last flicker of light, I saw their faces stretching, splitting, peeling back like masks. Beneath them was nothing but pale hands reaching for me. The last thing I heard before the dark swallowed me was my own voice, whispering from the chains. I told you not to go down.